Hello everyone, Vanguard of Valor here, and welcome back to the Sunless Sea. Our journeys today may take us far out to sea. We have many places where we need to visit. We've been asked to head down to the Khan's shadow. We've acquired a peculiar box, which may need to go in the vicinity of perhaps Demo Island. We have mysteries out in the distance, as yet unexplored, and things remain to be seen. First, though, we head to Codex to acquire a strategic piece of information. On our way up there, we'll see how this goes. We're low on food, but high in fuel. As we journey, of course, we'll run out of both, but hopefully our travels will prove profitable enough that we won't be in any immediate trouble. While we're here, though, I do question something. If we check our journal while sailing the sea, I think it would perhaps be safer to wait. These lifebergs are no laughing matter, and we may want to abandon any pretext of passing our time peacefully while they're around. They are chasing after us quite aggressively. I think we'll be safe, though. It seems to me we've made it far enough. The crawling stars. The lookout shouts. Far above, the false stars in the cavern roof are shifting. A rare and ominous event. What now? Eyes on the deck. We can forbid them to look. We can't really stop them, but at least it's encourage discussion. They won't like it, but it's safer. If the new shape seems well-omened, or can maybe cheered, who knows? Let's record the change and assign a name. We were unlucky. 3 of the false stars wink out altogether as suddenly as closed eyes. The pattern that remains is as hopeless and meaningless as cast dice. Somewhere a sailor begins to sob. We've gained 2 terror, and we're unlucky. Well, perhaps the next time will prove better for us. We make our way north to Wither, and then east to Codex. While we're here, we may as well see what this port has in store. There are a number of very strange mysteries here indeed, after all. And we dock. The House of the Question. Do they have anything here for us? We can gain Storm's attention if we'd like. We can ask about the drowned man. Or we can defy the gods. No. No, I think we shall not. It would increase our iron and hearts by 5 each and reset our terror to 0, but we will never be able to remove any god's curse or benefit in certain other ways. And I think that might be a poor choice. 100 echoes we could learn about the drowned man, but I think we need our funds at the moment. We don't have quite as much as once we did, and should we spend them all now, we may be in a bit of a bother later. For now, we will compile a port report of the citizens of Wither. There we have it.
Are you asking for any particular reason? At what time of day? Is that your hat? Might it be 6?
It could be 6. Eventually we cobble together enough implication and supposition to compose a report yet again. We decide to explore the town of Wither, however. Here and there are odd sights tucked away. What do we discover?
Who'll try? Who'll buy?
A street vendor turns skewers on a grill. The mixed scents are nothing like anything sold in London. We can try the troglodyte prawns. We could ask for something more robust. We could try something mysterious, or try the shredded jellyfish. It's not to everyone's tastes. These, however, are not exactly high success rate options, are they? Let's try something risky. We'll try the shredded jellyfish. It's not to everyone's tastes, but is it to ours? No. No, we will not. Ugh. We'll regret it later. The jellyfish's venom numbs our tongue and roils our stomach. We've lost 2 hunger, but we've gained a terror, and we failed the challenge. Well, well. Well, well, indeed. We attempted to find interesting things, but proved unlucky. Mutter salt. Interesting. What else is here? They're offering to sell supplies for tales of terror. Not the most wonderful of options, but it is an option. An anatomical cabinet. You don't say. They'll sell those for 100... No, we can sell them for 100 echoes. A mysterious artifact indeed. The figurehead of the Eater of Names? I have no idea what that may be. Sounds most interesting, though. A star shell? Stygian ivory? Lots of mysterious things here. But I think not. Might be interesting to acquire some mute result. I'm not sure what it's for, but it seems hard to acquire, so it might be worth getting at some point. Perhaps our bandaged poissonnier would like some. Can we just speak with him? Dine with the Ah, no, 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 my captain. You shall dine with me. Oh. Muter salt. Well, there you go. So if we get some strange catch and a muter salt, we can dine with the bandaged poissonnier. I'm sure that'll be interesting. But for now, it seems to not be a grand option. If we take a look at our officers, he acquires a 6 hearts and 3 pages, whereas our nacreous outcast acquires us 4 hearts, 2 pages, and 2 mirrors. For now, depending on what we want, we have the option of balancing these two. I'm not really sure what we want. I think what we will do, though, is boost our hearts a little bit to improve our reactions to terror. If we speak to him and spend some of our secrets to improve our hearts somewhat, that might help us out. So we'll do so. We speak on the nature of edibility. To be edible is to be possible to be consumed, and to be living is to consume. Thus we find that the nature of the unliving is to be consumed. In fact, therefore, anything that is not living may be consumed. Well then. Well then indeed. So let's discuss with him somewhat, and increase our hearts a little more. Once more up to 50. There we go. Our actual hearts themselves are not so high, but that's a nice round number. Well then, we set sail once again from Wither, after discussing with the bandaged poissonnier. We make our way to Codex, in the hopes of learning strategic information useful to us, and then perhaps we'll set sail for the south, to find some other interesting acquisitions. For now, though, there's no way to tell precisely what we'll discover out upon the sea. There's no way to tell precisely what we'll discover. For now, we stop in at Codex. Why, hello. In the Isle of Codex, we can compile a port report. And we can acquire strategic information for the Admiralty. We make the pass sign to a mute exile. She hands us an oilskin pouch, 9 foolscap sheets of beautifully written cipher, gathered from who knows what corners of the Undersea. We look up, and she points across the water to the distant lights of Withertown. She shakes her head. No home for her there. Not now. She points to her ship, and raises her eyebrows. A mute exile wants to join our crew. Will we permit it? Though other Zailers clutch their Z talismans and make signs against evil, the folk of Wither are uncanny. Those who are exiled to Codex must be more so. We will permit it this time. Welcome aboard. She can't or won't speak, but it's clear she knows the Z. She'll do well, this one. Something happened with Salt's attention. We've gained another crew, and we've gained more terror. Well then. Interesting indeed. Perhaps we'll learn more about our mute exile at some point in the future, but for now we set sail again, in the hopes of finding new wonders. I think for now we will make our way down south, towards Khan's Shadow, where our good friend wishes to travel. It's a ways away, though, so we'll need to see if our supplies will last us that long, long journey. We shall see indeed. It is a ways to go. and a vast whirlpool lies beneath us. Dathuli's Rage. Well, thankfully, we can bypass Dathuli's Rage without being pulled into its depths, but who knows what other mysterious things may be hiding out here. There is a great deal of unexplored sea near here. Let us make our way south and attempt to discover what lies within. We found Born Veda's Pillar. Is this simply what we've seen before, or is this an outcropping of a new area? Ah, yes, just an outcropping, it would seem. Luminescent beasts like eyeless dolphins play in our wake, but bother us not. Many new locations appear on our maps as we approach Guider's Morn. But it seems as though there's nothing truly unheard of here today. We have reached Massey's shaft, but of course there's no way to dock here, so we simply head out further into the Z. Our food supplies dwindle, but I believe we'll be well cared for as we journey out. Perhaps stopping in at Guider's Morn and Station 3 and heading down south would not be a poor choice. We will visit some of our closer locations this day, rather than venturing out oh so far away. Hoping, perhaps, for a safer journey. Far off, very far off, someone screams. Our iron is very low. If we can increase our iron, we may be more effective in combat, but as it stands, I'm not sure if we have many ways to do that. Perhaps the Presbyterian Adventurous would be willing to help us in that respect. For now, we dock at Guider's Morn. Presbyterian Adventurous, our gunnery officer, will you help us improve our iron? You will, but at the cost of wounds. Something tells me that's not a good idea. Paying our secrets, but taking wounds, is no great way to quickly learn. Perhaps from somebody else, then. For now, though, we've arrived at Guider's Morn. While we're here, we will perhaps gather intelligence. Only a 51% chance of success makes it not a likely challenge for me perhaps today, though. Let us explore the Morn instead, and see what we can discover. There's a surprising quantity of actual landscape on the Morn. It's vertical, admittedly, but once we find the beast paths and urchin roads, we can travel it as we would a rocky moor with an additional throatful of lurching terror. We reach a high place. The Z, like a rippled sheet of night green jade, the roof of the neath above, bellied with stalactites and prickling with false star. We look out across the water. What are we thinking of? Our future? Our past as a poet? Our prayer to the god Salt? A prayer to the god called Storm? Or prayer to the god called Stone? Well then. Let us pray to Salt, and see what Salt has in store for us. Something distant. Look east, where the Z and the roof are one in the mist. Our gaze unlocks the horizon like a puzzle box. Beneath is reconfigured and transfigured. It lasts a heartbeat. We've gained 2 mirrors and 2 pages, but Salt's attention has gone. Well, thank you, Salt. Thank you indeed. Well then, while we're here, I wouldn't hesitate to sell my cask of wine at the Arrant Limpet. But I would hesitate to buy any supplies here, for they are quite expensive indeed. I would love to acquire a mirror catch box here, but I have a feeling that they're not for sale. A concealed compartment might be good for doing illicit deals, but similarly, we have no means to afford one. So instead, we set sail yet again, Today, we head down to Abbey Rock for the next leg of our journey, because who knows what may lie in wait for us there. At the Abbey Rock. If we should be so lucky as to have something awaiting us when we arrive. A series of short journeys today marks this trip, because even if all else fails, we can return to Fallen London, and then head south from there. These areas also remain largely unexplored to us, so who knows what new mysteries await us here. For now, we pass into Abbey Rock to visit the Sisterhood, and send a Z-Bat out to explore. There are no new islands within the Z-Bat's range. What a shame. Well, it looks as though nothing new awaits us here. But what do we have to do? We can sell them supplies. We can knock at the iron-studded gates with news. That might be interesting. We'll compile ourselves a port report, perhaps, but first we'll knock at the iron-studded gates with news and see what they're willing to tell us. The muscular prioress, the abbess's lieutenant, comes to the door to listen. She nods and makes notes. She pays particular attention to the news of marsh beast predations and the traffic of the rooftops. In return, she offers a rather perfunctory blessing, but the blessing reassures our crew. Well, we've lost 2 terror for our recent news. Nothing so valuable, but let's compile our port report and move on. Seems as though there's nothing else for us here. Fair enough. The Z is vast, however, and I'm sure we'll find other adventures as we sail. Off to Station 3 we go. It seems as though the Locket of the Likely Lass is in our mind. We could throw it away. With enough time and effort, we could break her heart or she ours. But we'll keep our locket for the likely lass. It's a risk for both of us. Shorebound lovers grow lonely, and Z-captains die young. But we'll keep it. We have a sweetheart in London, and we've lost a terror. The Z air is cold, but the heat of our blood has warmed the metal of the locket. We keep it close. For now, though, we'll stop in at Station 3. Perhaps they'll have something to say to us. There's no way to know until we arrive. Well then. We may infer a Station 1 and a Station 2. We may conjecture a Station 4. However, we have what they need. We have a soothed and copper long box. Cooper, even. The only way past the walls is an unimposing but sturdy-looking triple-locked gate of silvery metal. A sign beside it reads, "Deliveries." The gate stands open. Let us go. There's a cargo in the hold marked for this destination. A long, low, heavy box. It'll be fun getting it up the stairs, no doubt. Up a twisting staircase. There is a great deal of grumbling from the crew. The stairs are sharp-edged and wet. The box is heavy, and its contents inclined to shift. After a few slips and a bad bruise to the shin, we resort to placing crew members along the stairs and handing the box along. There is a warehouse at the top of the stairs, but it is not apparently our destination. Another sign points along the narrow path towards the building with the spire. "Deliveries," it says, more aggressively this time. Someone in the spired building is singing. The song sets our teeth on edge. Well then. We can break into the warehouse and leave the box there. We can carry the box onto the building with the spire, which is a 52% chance. Or we can send ahead to the building for extra hands. We do have a 100% chance of breaking into the warehouse, and that sounds like fun. Let's attempt it. I have a feeling this is a bad idea, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try. Was it worth it? The lock is made of a thick, heavy metal, and bitter cold to the touch. For some time we think we might fail, if the mechanism is actually frozen solid, but just when we think our pick is about to snap, the lock gives way. Not that it does us any good. The warehouse is so full already that when we open the door, a box falls out, glass shattering within. Pale silver liquid leaks around our feet and runs in rivulets over the stone of the path. A moment's later it sets up, hard and cold as frost. Sooth and Cooper exports, says the sense-link on the boxes. Well, we've succeeded, but it sounds as though we've failed. We can send up to the steeple building after all, or we can hide the evidence. 51% chance of success. Let us try. No one needs to know. Disposing of the box is not too difficult. It makes a splash, chucked into the water, and there's a bubbling gleam from the depths as though more of the silver liquid is leaking out. But soon enough, the box and bubbles are out of sight. The warehouse door closes, too, with enough effort. We even manage to get the lock locked again, a more difficult task than unlocking it in the first place. It's the congealed metal in the ground that gives us trouble. It's very cold, very hard, and is frozen in thin, ragged slivers that threaten to cut our hands when we try to pry it up. It's brittle, though, and we're able to smash it into flakes and pull the flakes away. At last we have done, and the scene looks no different than it did when we began. Only when all that is done do we send someone up to the steepled building to ask for help. We acquire 10 fragments, and no one is any the wiser. Not much later, we're standing in the mist watching a parade of clay men. They hoist the boxes on their shoulders and march away, surprisingly quiet, toward the building with the steeple. An austere acolyte leads them, her lamp swinging on a chain. We will follow because we're curious, follow because we haven't been paid, or follow because the singing has got into our bones. Let's follow because the singing has gotten into our bones. We walk close enough to the acolyte to hear the next verse. It concerns the smell of hot brick, the chime of ashes falling on the grate, and the pleasure of braiding pokers together on a winter's night when there's nothing else to do. At least we think that's what it means. When we go back over the words in our head, we're not sure they make even that much sense. The austere acolyte directs the arrangement of the long box in the room under the steeple. There are many other boxes there already, stacked in rows, 3 or 4 times as many as we've brought. In another corner of the room is a pile of wood from previous boxes already emptied and dismantled. Singing to herself about a mountain upholstered in velvet, she takes a crowbar to the box. The corpse inside is permanently dead, in a way that the dead of London often are not. Not a drowny, not a tomb colonist, but not coming back either. It looks pale and ordinary, except for the slight distension of the skin over the breastbone. Gently, the acolyte presses there and nods, singing about tulips embroidered with yellow floss. She lifts the body onto a marble slab. Without pause in her lyrics, she prepares a scalpel. Our presence does not seem to bother her. Let's watch this mysterious process. We can attempt a medical interest check here. Let us try. Well then. Excellent precision. The austere acolyte makes an incision over the distended place on the body, laying bare a heart-sized sphere of silver metal. It has grown there, apparently over many years, because the ribs of the corpse have curved around it without cracking. She has to break 2 of the ribs now to take out the ball. Behind it, the heart is intact, but bloodless, its color a milky gray. She notices us watching and halts her song just long enough to say, "They do not always grow in the same place, but over the heart is the most common." With a giant nutcracker, she cracks the sphere, and another sphere inside that, and another. Finally, in the center, she comes to something heavy, small, and black. She lifts it out with tongs, and looks at it through her goggles. The song falters, but she manages to keep humming, though the words are lost. She puts the black and heavy thing into a jar marked with a word of the correspondence. She closes the jar, and seals it with red wax. Finally, when the corpse is removed again, and the marble slab wiped clean, she comes to us, to pay us. Though she doesn't offer any further comment, she seems pleased by our careful attention during the autopsy, and almost smiles when she makes her payment. "A pleasure," she says. "Return another day. I may have something else for you." Well, we've earned the acolyte's favor by succeeding in our heart's challenge. We've lost our long box, but we now are accepted as trading in long boxes, and we've gained ourselves a secret. We have 5 times the station's acolyte's favor. Well then. The inner port is open to us now, although it is clear that our welcome is conditional. We could deliver a long box to the Alkalite. We could return later. Or we could exchange a long box for a heart metal ingot. Interesting indeed. No idea what they're for. But perhaps one day we will learn. For now, though, it would seem that that's not an option to us. Well, well, well. The Z is strange indeed. For now, I think we return to Fallen London to acquire more supplies, and then we'll head out again. It doesn't make much sense after reaching the station to which we were headed to immediately head out to Z again. Let us return to port, acquire the supplies we'll need for a safe journey elsewhere, and then voyage onwards. Today we play it safe, rather than taking unnecessary risks. The lights of the lighthouses alleviate our terrified minds, if only temporarily. As we pass back alongside them, towards London. While we are here, we may as well stop in at this lifeboat. Light boat, in fact, a lightship. But we have nothing to do to speak with the crew, because we've already spent our recent news. Oh well. Another time then, perhaps. Another time then. For now, London calls to us. And to London we go. Our resources have been greatly spent in this journey, and while we've acquired a great number of things, we have not acquired a great deal of wealth as of yet. But that may yet change. That may yet change. We've acquired a new chef, and a great deal of knowledge for our cost. For now, we dock in London. Well, well. While we're here, we drop by the dark-spectacled Admiral to pass on our strategic information. He's hard to read with those glasses, but he reads the summary intently.
Satisfactory,
He says at last.
eminently satisfactory, actually. Good work.
Take this for your trouble. The clerk will see you paid. We've gained a favor and 150 echoes, which is a nice reward indeed. What else would he require information on? First of all, we'll pass in our port reports, however. Our port report of Hunter's Keep gets us a fuel, another 5 echoes. Our port report of Venderbight gets us as well a fuel and 10 echoes. Wither's information, fuel and 20 echoes. Abbey Rock, a fuel and 20 echoes. Codex, 20 echoes and another fuel. But let's see if there's anything in particular they need. The Admiral deals directly with more sensitive commissions, and let's find out what he needs. That's unusual. Normally it would allow us to acquire another... There we go. He sends us to speak in Khan's heart. What a coincidence, we're headed there anyway. Strategic information from Khan's heart could be quite valuable to us, so perhaps we will acquire some. As it stands, though, that works out quite well. For now, we will head in here and acquire ourselves some supplies. Do they have Muttersalt here? Oh, they do. No, they simply sell it. Allow us to remove some, but not to acquire any. Well, well. They do allow us to buy Dark Drop coffee beans, if we wish to speak with our Presbyterian adventuress. That may be worth doing. For now, though, we buy supplies. To allow us to journey without starving, expensive though they may be. Well, well. As it stands, I think we have more or less all we'll be able to afford. But, let us see. Let us see. Is there anything else worth buying here? I believe we have a glim lamp already. But I don't think there's much else we could really acquire here. Nothing new we can acquire at all. Ah well. Another time, perhaps. Another time. In our lodgings we can read the morning papers to acquire more recent news. Nothing new, but still new news. We've lost some terror, which is always good. Let's go back to the rest of the city and see if we can't perhaps find our friend. Perhaps not. A matter of luck is a sure thing. Or is it? We don't have another free evening, so we can't head out yet again, so that's not going to work. That's fine. There's plenty for us to do another time. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. This has been Vanguard of Valor here, playing some more Sunless Sea for you. If you've enjoyed today's episode, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. Don't forget to check the links below this video to keep in contact with our other various media presences, mostly Twitter and Twitch are what you're looking for there. Thank you again very much for your support, especially to those of you who are supporting me on Patreon and helping making this whole thing happen as a full-time adventure, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, goodbye.